Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we have a very special product that I've been waiting for and finally have got my hands on, almost, still in the box, but Speedway Motors has come up with their patent pending line of SoloSwap products, and the intended uses for these are to kind of be able to mock what motor you want to put in your car or your car project, whether it fits or not is kind of what this helps determine. As we know, my motor has already been mounted, does fit, but there are other questions and tasks that this thing will certainly help answer and do for us. So let's go ahead and get this thing open. Got all the parts out here. Like I said, I am pretty impressed with just all the pieces, parts, how clean all the edges are. It's pretty sweet. Wasn't sure what to expect, but the next step here is to really just get everything bolted together, crack out the instructions, put together all the parts and pieces using these nuts and bolts here that are supplied, and yeah, let's do it. Okay, folks, that was a lot faster and easier than I thought, but we have assembled the head portion of the product. This is a design that accommodates both GE and GTE head bolt patterns, intake, exhaust, what have you, and any other unique attributes in terms of bolt-on assets, if you will. But yeah, this is literally 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12 bolts to put this together. Like really sturdy, really nice, solid feeling sheet metal. Good stuff. All right, onto the block. Okay, so we got the short block assembled. I attached the head and I went a step further and put together the turbo mock-up piece, which we do have our turbo. We know how big it's gonna be, where it's gonna land in space, but this allows us to not actually have to bolt the turbo to the engine while we're doing other work and contaminate it with dust, debris, and whatnot. And obviously, we also bolted on my custom header manifold. Now, this was built on the actual motor many moons ago, but if you're a fabricator or someone of that sort, you could just as easily have someone purchase, like a customer purchase a flange, put this in the car bolted up with the flange on the motor, and then build your manifold in the car and ensure, clearance and all of those things are good to go. So as you know, I am running the GE head and block. They do have a different bolt pattern for the exhaust and intake, I believe. This is an exhaust flange for a GE and it bolted right up. So at this point, I might go ahead and get this exhaust manifold off here and start getting the engine out of the car, so that way we can unbolt the trans and bolt up the SoloSwap block to the transmission and then get it back in the car and then start doing some work and mock up our intake, exhaust, and suspension, strut tower bar, just to make sure everything still clears like we think it does, and make some progress. So. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Now that we got the block out, I wanted to pull the oil pan off because I will be mounting it to the SoloSwap, and that will allow us to recreate basically the situation that we had in the engine bay with the motor in there. Again, I've been doing a lot of work underneath the car with the front splitter. I'm actually modifying the connector from the front splitter to the cross member. Lots of tight clearances there with like the steering rack, cross member, and of course the oil pan. So again, moving that oil pan over to the SoloSwap is going to be helpful in terms of ensuring that the rest of my modifications that I make to that front piece are going to be compatible with you know, what we got going on with the 2J rear sump oil pan. So what we'll do now, we'll pull the header off the SoloSwap, put the oil pan on the bottom of it, make sure I have some nuts to pair with the bolts that secured the transmission to the engine, and then I'll just physically carry it over in there and bolt it up. So let's do that. Okay, as you can see, we finally wrestled our adapter plate back onto the back of the block. For those of you that don't know, I am using a CD009 transmission, which is a Nissan 6-speed on the back of this 2J-Z, which requires this adapter plate. And this was kind of cool. I figured it would bolt up, but I didn't quite think about it. But turns out the bolt pattern for the back of the SoloSwap matches, obviously, the transmission, you know, factory transmission bolt pattern that you would see straight from the factory. So with that being said, I just used my same tapered Allen head bolts that I used to bolt it on to the factory engine. And even though, yeah, the SoloSwap doesn't have threads in it itself, the beauty of this is that Speedway sends you a ton of metric nuts to effectively act as threaded holes in the block. They're grade A bolts. They're really high quality. I was surprised how many of these damn things I got, but that was really cool. So yeah, this is all bolted up. The engine is pretty much as it was when it came out of the car here just a bit ago, being oil pan and adapter plate. So the next step is to get this thing back in the car. And I'm kind of curious to see how awkward this will be doing this myself. But all I know is that I won't be needing the engine hoist, obviously. This is, again, 12 gauge sheet metal or so. Yeah, this should be pretty cool. So, okay, moment of truth here. Pick up this old SoloSwap, and pretty easy. I know not everyone can swing these things around, but whoop. Oh yeah. Okay, well, that's kind of a wrap for the 2J-Z patent pending SoloSwap. I think this product has really proven to be pretty useful, especially for folks who haven't fit up an engine. I myself had, obviously, like I've said, but if you're making custom motor mounts, custom transmission mounts and what have you, and really need to assert a fitment of your hardware in your engine bay before you make any, commitments to welds or cuts or what have you, it's really useful. Not only that, but the top side of the motor, so things like, again, like the strut tower brace or your headers or your intake, everything, has to play nice together. And using this 2J-Z SoloSwap is so beneficial in so many ways to that's kind of scenario, if you will. So yeah, all in all, very pleased, very excited to keep on using this. The next phase of this build is going to be getting that transmission tunnel modified to fit the S1 sequential shifter that's going in the car. And yeah, the SoloSwap I'll probably unbolt like the accessories and whatnot and allow the transmission to be unbolted and bolted back up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, like the video if you think I did a good job here, and see you guys on the next one.